My son, guys, the second he saw it, he claimed it his. So, like I told you, directly across from the tail. And you're going to be taking 3 stitches right at the bottom. And we want to make sure we have a knot on our working yarn. Or if you're using glue, you don't have to put a knot. And you're simply going to be inserting it like so. Right at the bottom of the foundation chain here. Knitting tight, remember. From this point on, it's just knitting tight. And so she'll look something like this. And so, do you see how I trailed it right down, aligned? I'm going to be making my 4th stitch. So we're going to do 8 total loops right now. And this is my 4th one. And then now, directly like a pair, aligned, the horizontal stitches, I'm going to go ahead and knit right underneath. Just as you saw me do, coming straight across all 3 loops, the horizontal stitches. So you should have 7 loops, and we're going to be making our last loop, our 8th loop, right on the side again. What you did to the right side, you do to the left side. And here I'm tucking in my tail, guys, nice and tight. Like I told you guys, wherever I tuck in my tails is where I'm going to be using glue. Obviously, for an older child or the dot lover or decor or for yourself, you don't need to put glue. But this is just for like younger kids. I just think it just helps with the security here. So now our 8th loop, what you did to the right side, you do to the left side. So the vertical stitch aligned with the loop. So you should have 8 loops, and it should be looking something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have it aligned. 5. See each pair, 6 and 7 and 8. So it should be looking something like this, like I said. Very, not the biggest circle or rectangle that I did. So I'm going to knit all the way around now, guys, for 5 total rows. So this is the 2nd row. You know, always when you pull out the loops, make the shape, that's the 1st row. So this is the 2nd row right here. And I'm going to do a total of 5 rows. Now I'm going to show you again, like with the belly. You can go past 5. You can do 4 rows. You can do 6 rows. It's your little cute sea turtle, but I do 5. Knitting tight, guys. Again, barely coming up to the joint on your index finger. It really does make a difference. The tighter you knit, the more flawless. Obviously, it becomes very challenging, but just coming up to that joint on the index finger. So I'm going to go ahead and show you right here. So here's a total of 5 for me. So I'm going to kind of bunch it as best as I can, turn it to the side, and then judge it to see how far it's coming out. If you're satisfied and you feel like that's good, then you're done. So I do 5 rows. Then I'm going to cut a relatively decent sized tail, like coming across the opening there. And then we're going to go ahead and start our enclosing. Remember, the stitch connected to the tail, it can disappear on you as you start to tug. So just keep an eye on it. You can use a marker or just keep an eye on it as you're tugging. Now, if you notice, I'm not stuffing yet because I want to enclose it a little bit here so the stuffing isn't in my way and I can visually see the head shaping. I wouldn't overstuff this part because a sea turtle head, it's more long and it's not overly round it. But then again, it is your seed turtle. You make it as plush as you want. I'm just showing you my preference and process here. As you see how I am stuffing it, I'm kind of like using all my fingers to distribute the stuffing here. I don't want it overly stuffed here, so I'm kind of stretching a little bit, using all my fingers to lay out the stuffing. And then as you're enclosing, you'll start to see how it helps shape it even more, and to put more stuffing or lesser. So you want a good enclose, and then once you're done with stuffing, same thing as the shell, same thing as the body, guys. Make a knot and tuck it in as best as you can, like hook it really in. And so there you go, guys. I absolutely am loving this part right here because you can already see the turtle coming out. I absolutely love this color combo. I do the baby one and a different combo. It is all Burnett, guys. It is all from Michaels, and it is all 32 yards. Now I'm gonna tie a knot and then poke into the previous opening, which is gonna be really tight because I kept pulling. But right here with my turtles, my land turtles, this kind of acts like a mouth right here, guys. You can make a face onto your plushie, like a natural little face is gonna come out. I absolutely love it on my land turtles. It looks like a little grandpa. So do you see what I'm pulling? I'm trying to make like a chin here, and I absolutely love it. Just trying to make a natural face on him. So that's it, guys. That was the head. Very simple, very quick once you learn it, especially when it comes to the limbs now, which the limbs are going to be even faster because there is no more stuffing. So I did one to demonstrate a visual. Do you see how it merges? It's like touching right up against the head. Do you notice how the edges are kind of like curled in a little bit and it's like a wedged shape? I want to go ahead and give a visual. So again, you're going to start out with a knot unless you're using glue. You don't got to worry about making a knot. So right up against the head, that very first stitch right up against the head, it might even be super small. So I took that stitch right up against the head, and it's going to make it like merging. It's going to be pressed, flushed. The fin's going to be flushed right against the head, and that's what you want. You're going to go ahead and knit through that first one, flushed right up against the head, a little tail hanging out, and then we're going to go ahead and take one more stitch. 2 stitches for all the limbs. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck in my tail, guys, and I'm going to go ahead and use the hot glue here. There's super glue, there's fabric glue. So usually I don't show this, guys, in my tutorials because my videos are so long, but I just want to start showing my whole process, and I just think it helps to visually see another hand knitter work their whole plushie. Like I said, a piece of scrap yarn, push it in right there. This yarn, this color is so good at concealing, but there you go. So now this is the second row. Now do you see how it's kind of pulling on it? You want to knit this tight from each stitch to the next stitch. Knit it nice and tight because it's going to help curve your edges. So that's the second row that we just did. Now we're going to go on to the third row. And so the third row we're going to increase. So knit it nice and tight, pull it nice and tight, and then right in the middle, right under that middle part, right under that working yarn, make a loop. And this is a universal scale. This is how you increase, always in between 2 stitches. And then go ahead and knit that last one. So this is the third row, and you should have 3 loops now. Now this is the fourth row. And you're going to go ahead and keep knitting all the way until you get to the 7th row. So this is the 4th row. And then again, pulling tight so those edges are coming out perfect. This is the 5th row. Like I said, all the way to the 7th row is where we're going to be decreasing. This is my 6th row now, guys. And on my 7th row, knitting tight, but I'm going to take the working yarn, push through that first loop, and then I'm going to get the 2nd loop and push the working yarn through both loops at the same time. We just decrease universal skill there. Knitting tight, and then go ahead and knit the last loop. That's the 7th row. Now the 8th row, you're going to decrease again. Both loops, pull the working yarn through. Really using your thumbs, it helps to just really push it through. And then, again, make tiny little loops here. And then I would cut a relatively long tail. If you want to make a knot and tuck it in, cut a long tail. I'm not cutting a super long tail. So I'm going to poke that tail from bottom up. It's inside out, but from bottom up, and tucking it down nice and good. And now we're going to weave it. I'm going to weave it down the side that makes sense. So here I'm just kind of judging where to weave it at. So I'm going to weave it down. You could do a side, or you could do it straight down the middle. So whatever part makes sense, the side or straight down the middle. So I'm going to do it on the side closest to the face. I feel like that side needs to be perfected. And so I'm just checking it. Every time I weave it through a stitch, I'm going to go ahead and check it, making sure the shape is looking good still. So this is the second weave right here. And every time I weave it through, I kind of just give a little tug on it, checking the shape here. Am I liking it? If you don't like it, undo it, go through another stitch. And if you don't want to weave it at all, you're either going to hand sew it or use some fabric or hot glue, super glue. Go ahead and just cut a very small tip and go ahead and mold it down. I cut too long of a tip here, guys. That's okay. It's okay. But I would cut a shorter tip and go ahead and just mold it down. Or if you want to tie a knot, just weave it all the way down to where you can tuck it in with a knot. And there you go. That was the whole pattern, guys. A total of 8 rows. Increase on the 3rd row, start decreasing on the 7th and 8th row. And go ahead and weave your tail down all the way down, tuck it in with a knot, mold it down with some fabric or hot glue. Even sew it, you can, sew the tip down, and there you go. Your fin should be kind of like curling a little bit on the edges and flushed against the head. So like it's all one whole piece right there. So now for our leg, guys. Again, I did a demonstration right here. This one's going to be a little bit different right here. Do you see the shape, how it's more like a door frame, like a rounded door frame. I can't think of the shape right here, but so it's going to be 2 stitches back, 2 full stitches back, 1, 2, and then we're going to take 2 stitches again. So on both sides. This is why you want to cast on an even amount when you begin with your shell. So 1 full stitch, 2 full stitch, and we're going to take those 2 for our leg, guys, which will be coming up a little bit smaller, as I think sea turtle back legs are a little bit smaller. So go ahead and make a knot, and the same thing, go ahead and knit it through, knitting tight. It should look something like this. Tuck in your tail. So same thing, guys, increasing on the 3rd row, but the 6th row we're going to decrease, and done. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you here. I'm just go ahead and just hot gluing it now. Usually I save this for the end, but I just want to include this. And so the leg, guys, is going to be way faster. We're going to increase on the 3rd row, same thing, and then a decrease on the 6th row. So again, knitting tight, really pull it to help get your edges nice and straight, nice and curved beautifully. So that was the 2nd row. So here is the 3rd row. Go ahead and do your increase just like the fin, just like the arm. And then this is my 4th row. And like I said, on the 6th row is where we're going to decrease all the loops and cast off. This is my 5th row. And you see I'm kind of like flatten it out a little bit here. I don't want these to curl. I don't want the edges to curl. And on my 6th row, I'm going to take all loops. So kind of work it through 2 loops and then get that last loop. All loops. Pull the working yarn through all loops at once. And again, make a small little loop. Straighten it out. And that's it, guys. Cut a long tail if you're going to be tucking it in and tying a knot. Or a relatively short tail if you're not. Push it from coming from bottom up. From this angle, but it's inside out. And then now you are going to weave this down the side that needs to be perfected. Where you can see the left side needs to be perfected here. So watch how I'm doing it. I'm poking the tail from bottom up, tugging a little bit. And now this is going to be my 2nd stitch I'm going to weave through right on the edge. I'm trying to get a perfect shape here. And then now my 3rd stitch, taking it all the way down basically. Then I'm just matching them here, guys. Which when you get to your 2nd back leg, you can go and just see, does it match? And now you see what I'm doing? Tucking it behind the brown stitch. And this is where you can tie a knot, tuck it in, use fabric glue, hot glue, handheld sew it. Many different ways to always cast off, guys. So I'm using glue here. I cut a real small tip And then I'm going to go ahead and mold it down. And there you go. That was the whole pattern for the legs, guys. So making these little sea turtles is very simple, especially if you're going to do like a baby one. It's even lesser knitting, which again, I will have a pattern that I made for a baby one. But once you learn, you'll know how much you want to go for a baby size. I just made it just to provide it. But there you go. Look how cute he looks. I absolutely love this, guys. I absolutely love these turtles. I should have did it way sooner. But there you go. It should be looking something like this. Now we are going to be doing our tail. So I'm just taking some scrap yarn here just in case I need it when I do the gluing down. So our tail, guys, even shorter and faster. So I'm kind of showing you right here. You want to get the tail centered right in the middle. So you're going to have a gap on the left and right side. It's okay if it's like one stitch on one side and a 1.5 on the other side. Just get it right in the middle where I'm showing you. So do you see how one side is a little bit more? That's fine. Just get it right in the middle, direct opposite of the head. And again, I'm going to start with a knot. And we're going to do 2 stitches, working through the horizontal stitches directly across from the head. Then go ahead and tuck in your tail. And then we're going to go ahead and knit for the second row. Nice and tight. And we cast off on the 3rd row. That's it. On the 3rd row now, and we're going to go ahead and put 2 loops on the finger and decrease on the 3rd row, and then go ahead and cut your tail. That's it, guys. 3 total rows. The 3rd row you decrease, and go ahead and poke that tail from inside out. Lock it nice and down tight. And here, I just flipped it over, guys. Now I'm going to weave the tail down the side that makes sense, the side that needs to be perfected here. So basically how we did the back leg. Weaving that tail from coming from bottom up or inside out. That's 1 stitch I did. Now I'm going to go ahead and do another one. I'm just simply trying to perfect the shape here, perfect that side. Like I'm trying to get, like the tail's gonna be like a little triangle. And there you go. About 2 times I do it. So do you see a little shape right there it's making? About 2 times I do it. You can do it 3 times, you know, where it makes sense, where, you know, it'll help the shape. Now I'm simply going to tuck it in, and, you know, you can make a knot or go ahead and use some glue if you want a little bit of extra security measure here, which is fabric glue again, and or there's hot glue, super glue. And just make sure you put a piece of scrap yarn to conceal it, and you will never know that there is glue right there, guys. It is extremely soft all over. And there you go, guys. that was our whole pattern. I am going to show you how to do the eyes, which is very simple, all preference right there, but I want to include it. Just take you through my whole arts and craft process, as I love arts and crafts, and you know, with hand knitting, it's very much arts and crafts involved. So there you go, guys. Look how cute he is. So do you see I'm kind of just using my fingers, molding that shape there. There you go. So now let's do the eyes, which if you're doing your own way, then you are done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and it was easy to follow. But if you wanted to see how I do it, I simply take size 4 classic red heart yarn, and you see what I'm doing? I simply snail it in between my fingertips. This is how I do my eyes for all plushies, all my plushies, teddy bears, all of them. So by simply taking this yarn that I'm constantly using for the eyes, I just simply snail it. And then I go ahead and hold it against the plushie, judge the size, cut the excess amount off, apply hot glue to the plushie or the circle I just made, and then there you go. So there is the mouth. So I'm gonna put my eyes relatively right at the front of the face, very close to the little opening, as that is supposed to be his mouth. Take you to my whole process right here of how I do it, because I also, when I apply it, the hot glue is very it's very malleable with the yarn, so you're able to shape, use your fingers, and you're able to shape the circle. You can leave it a circle, you can make it an oval, you're able to shape it. So that's what I kind of wanted to show, as their sea turtle eyes are kind of like big almond shapes. And so there you go, guys. This is all going to be arts and crafts right here. And right here too, right beneath the yarn, beneath the eye, if you can kind of see, it kind of looks like cheeks almost. Like, you gotta pull it out a little bit. And there you go. But there you go, guys. We are done. I absolutely love my sea turtles. I'm kind of making a lot of them. I had to do a baby one with a different color combo. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. This is my second favorite, I would say, right beneath Winnie the Pooh. I hope you guys found it easy. It is a very easy pattern and very quick to make. Thank you, guys.